forfeiting their remaining matches. So for both Kyong and Andy, it's win and in. So I see that we have... There are at least 2 Andys in ALTTP speedrunning, but we've got one of them here tonight. This Andy has made a name for himself in the mystery tournaments. I believe 4 consecutive mystery tournaments is the number that I may have heard that Andy has won. I'm not as familiar with Kyong, and of course, Mashy and Ivan have been around speedrunning in some form or fashion since, if I'm correct, the mid-1960s. Again, I just got here. My notes are all shuffled. That date might be a little bit off. But I'm pretty sure Ivan started speedrunning in approximately 1963, something like that. But we are here. We are in the escape sequence. Now, normally, yeah, Kyong is definitely one of the people that came over from Randomizer. But normally here in the escape sequence, I would virtually turn to the person who's commenting with me and say, hey, do we have to talk about pumping? And they would kind of give a long, exasperated sigh and say, do we have to? But it's just me, and I have to talk for like 90 minutes about this game. So the only movement tech that you're really going to see here in the escape sequence is something called pumping. Basically, if Link is moving north or west, facing north or west, you can mash perpendicular directions to get tiny pixel boosts. So you will see that instead of using direct diagonal movements, they'll be using different angles, and that is from pumping. Or if they're walking north or west, you'll see them trying to line up right here, like how they Kyong and Andy are lining up against that wall. They're mashing against that wall to reset Link's movement pattern and get little pixel boosts. So the 4 runners are entering the green guard quick kill. Andy, Kyong, and Ivan all 3 get the spins off. Ivan having a little trouble with the blue guard quick kill, but Mashy pulling it off well. So the escape sequence, we have woken up in the middle of the night. Unfortunately, anybody who's had the joy of hearing Runner Watcher's commentary, this would be the point where Runner Watcher would come up with some fantastic lore behind the game and basically write the story that you want to be told. I'm not nearly so clever, so all I can do is tell you what's actually supposed to be going on. You wake up in the middle of the night, you hear voices, your uncle tells you to stay put, but of course you're an insolent little whelp and you don't do what your parents tell you, so you go out and play in the rain at midnight. And turns out you end up rescuing a princess from a jail cell. So we have all 4 of our racers have rescued their princess and are now in the aptly named escape segment, escaping. Say hello to the downtown boys, these 2 green guards that are totally oblivious to everything going on around them. Seriously, you'd think that, they would pay some better guards to keep an eye on the princess, but pretty much everybody that you've run into up until now, full suit of armor, shield, sword, totally useless, quickly dispatched by a ostensibly young child who just learned to use a sword approximately 2 minutes ago. All of these guards fully equipped, Link just running around in green pajamas, and none of them can manage to kill him. Truly, the training budget for the Hyrule soldiers has been misspent. So we're now heading into the back half of Escape. We've got some dark rooms and sewers filled with rats and bats and snakes. Oh my. Kyong getting through the sea of snakes pretty quickly. Andy and Ivan both had to stop and dispatch one. Mashy getting Ratus Interruptus. And then having a snake party a bit. Now, these water rooms that you see the runners entering, these are some of the rooms where it actually does, it is actually worth it to pump. You save a good amount of time doing that in those rooms. Ivan getting a good key rat, Andy getting a good key rat, Kyong getting a good key rat. All of them got a nice south key rat. See what turns up for Mashy. And Mashy getting a good key rat. All right, so Ivan with approximately a 557, Kyong and Andy with low 6s, Mashy bringing up the rear with a 613. I'm fairly certain all of our runners are going to pick up the Sanctuary Heart. And there it is. Don't let anybody tell you that the Sanctuary Heart is a safety. It's absolutely foolish for anybody going for a time. Absolutely foolish for anybody pretty much with a time higher than a 126. It ain't for safety, it's just smart gameplay. So we are on our way to Eastern Palace. We still don't have any sort of quick mode of transportation, so we make our way through the Octorok minefield, boomerang and sword in hand. And this is where we're going to start seeing some interesting bits of speed tech. The first one is this particular blue guard that the runners are moving by. By moving in a certain pattern, you see Ivan is just able to slip right by that blue guard. If your movement is not good, you can end up having to either boomerang or slash that blue guard. And then also coming up in Eastern, you're going to see a room that casually you would wander in and see 4 skeletons. But the runners will be entering that room and moving in a specific pattern that puts them high on the spawn area for those skeletons, causing the north one to spawn outside the room, the south one to try to spawn on a pot. It will prevent the left and right ones from spawning, so you can kill them before they even appear. And Ivan's got it. Kyong's got it. Andy's got it. Very nice. And now Mashy right behind. Very nice. So all of the runners opting to pick up the arrows there. You don't necessarily need those arrows, but you do have a 12.5% chance of not getting another arrow drop, which would leave you in a bad position. Yo, nice diagonal boom for Kyong. That's what I like to see. Ivan getting the 20 drop. I'm just going to call it right now. Kyong wins for pulling off the diagonal boom. It's really the only interesting thing that you can do in Eastern. And now you see our runners using a damage boost to get past these 4 anti-fairies. Ooh, Andy having trouble. Kyong and Ivan getting through it, no problem. Andy had to go and pick up a few extra hearts and is now down to 1. Ivan also down to 1 heart, so any hit from an Igor will do them in. But you use a damage boost to get through the anti-fairies, pick up a pot, and step on the switch as the iframes expire, causing the big chest to appear. You normally have to kill all the enemies in the room, but well executed by 3 out of the 4. And now that we have a bow... Oh, uh-oh, Andy. Ooh, okay. So Andy misfired the arrow and almost took an Igor to the face. Used the timer on the Igor, the sleep timer, to pick up a heart. That was very smart. Uh-oh, Kyong having some trouble in ZGR. Ivan getting through ZGR, no problem. Mashy taking a bit of damage, and Kyong enters the getting ready to enter the Armos fight. Alright, Ivan's in the fight. Goes for the top right quick kill, and very nice. Kyong sets up for the quick kill, 5 right, gets to the top left, fires 13 down. Very nice. Andy now, 5 right, 13 down. Mashy having some problems with 2 red Igors, but gets through. And now Mashy going for the bottom right quick kill. A little bit slower, but not much. 3 up, 2 left, and then we're going to go ahead and... This is basically what you'll see later when they're on Ice Armos, but... Oh, Mashy doesn't get the last arrow off in time. The Armos regenerates, so has to pump a few more in there. But survives. Andy might, I'm being told that Andy is normally a console player, but may have been having console capture issues, so has switched over to emulator for this, which might explain some of the hiccups that we've seen. And we're now going to see our first Japanese 1.0 minor glitch, spin speed. You just saw it there from Kyong. Basically, you charge your sword on the first frame after you release the charge. You tap the dash button. It puts you into a glitch state. Switching from manual stairs to normal ground turns that glitch state into free movement at dashing speed. Mashy is opting to get these 100 rupees from the back of Sahasrala's hut, whereas you see the others are sticking with their counts in the 20s and 30s. Actually, all of them have really good rupee counts. That's actually very nice to see. They still need to get between 80 and 70 more, so we'll keep an eye on that. Kyong having some problems bonking the book, cancels a little early, but okay. Ivan's got his book, Andy's getting the book, Mashy's on the way to the book, but having a party on the bridge. Kyong having some trouble with spin speed. Those library spin speeds going to and from, they only save about 30 frames if you do them right, and as soon as you do them wrong one time, you've lost time. So it's a very low risk reward there, or low risk but low reward. You know, obviously you're not gonna take damage from getting it wrong, but it's hard to save time on those. Kyong with a nice buffer to book to line himself up for that dash down, preventing the walking through the water. Mashy getting the book, Ivan in the desert, Andy and Kyong not far behind. Just as a reminder, the top 2 and the bottom 2 are in 2 separate races, but you should probably see Andy, Kyong, and Ivan stay pretty close, and Mashy as well throughout this run. Of course, in a no-reset tournament setting like this, anything can happen, anybody can win, so do not let an early game delay fool you. Spin speed is harder than it looks. It is a 1-frame window, so the first frame after you have released the charge, you have to press A. And with the Super Nintendo running at approximately 60.1 frames per second, that's only about 16 milliseconds. So Ivan with a decent lead over Mashy, about 40 seconds here. and slightly less over Andy and Kyong. Ivan getting through the cannonballs. All these guys are playing the original game. So if by seed you mean, are they all playing the same game? Yes, they are. Ivan got the gloves. Kyong and Andy not far behind. Mashy's got the bonk key and is heading off to the cannonball run. And Ivan is through Desert 1, on the way to the back half of Desert 2. Getting through the cannonballs cleanly is Mashy. I'm meanwhile sitting here accidentally punching my microphone. I'm sure that sounds fantastic on the other end. How many different versions of Link to the Past exist? Ivan is entering a boss fight, and then we have an overworld segment. I will cover that then. The short answer is 3, but only 1 is in the States. Japan got 3 different versions. So Ivan is entering the Landmolas fight. 3 worms, 16 hit points each. Your objective to reduce each worm to 0 hit points. Arrows do 4, slashes do 2. Spins also do 2. Ivan having a pretty good first cycle. A decent second cycle, too. A good third cycle, and just 1 more worm to clean up. Andy starts off... Andy has a little bit of a rough first cycle, but not bad. Kyong getting a really nice pattern here and cleans it up. Andy getting a little bit of a bad pattern there with the down right on that last worm, but is probably going to clean it up right there. Okay, so Japan got 1.0, which is this. 1.0 has all the minor glitches, torch glitch, everything. 1.1 patched out the minor glitches that you'll see used in this run, but still had torch glitch. There was also some changes with a glitch called YBA, as far as where it would work and where it wouldn't, but that doesn't enter into this run. And 1.2 was the final version released in Japan and patched pretty much everything. Obviously, there's still some glitches. It is a Super Nintendo game, after all. Speaking of... Wow, excuse me. Speaking of glitches, you just saw Ivan swim and Kyong do the same, and they don't have flippers yet. That is one of our other minor glitches called fake flippers. When you jump into the water, you have 1 frame's worth of movement before the game decides to check if you're swimming, or if you have the flippers or not. And by transitioning screens on that frame, the game will opt out of checking for flippers and let you swim. The downside to that is if you take damage on a screen other than that which you jumped in on, the game tries to throw you out of the water at that point to the coordinates where you jumped in, which are on a different screen, and you set yourself up for a nice little soft lock. You have to save and quit or reset your console. But no problems for Kyong, Andy, or Ivan on the fake flippers, and we will see Mashy next. Ivan, of course, I believe it was Ivan and Trogdor that had the double fake flipper soft lock earlier in the tournament. But that was a race to watch. So if you are going back and catching VODs of races that you missed, that would be one to see. We're seeing that spin speed there. I'm actually Yeah, all four are going for fake flippers. Mashy going for it now. It may have been Mashy and Trogdor. Yeah, it was Mashy and Trogdor. Thanks, Elm. Because of that, I'm actually surprised to see Mashy going for fake flippers, because it was quite the traumatic experience last time. Mashy's having some problems with the setup, but needs to get one frame over. You got it. There it is. Okay, now don't get hit. All right, so our runners are... No! Mashy, please. Please. So Mashy can save and quit back to Link's house and is able to proceed. Very good. Okay. So, Mashy's run is now invalid for the leaderboards. But because this is a tournament and we don't want to see any early forfeits, for the tournament, for the bracket stage, if you get the fake flipper soft lock, you're able to save and quit back to Link's house and proceed as you want. The rules are slightly more punitive in the bracket stages. Watch the brackets if you want to know about that. But Mashy is now going to opt out of the fake flippers and proceed the old way. Meanwhile, tiles flying everywhere. We're in the auto-scroller in Hera. Kyong and Ivan are through. Andy is there. Andy goes for... Ooh, gets the boom dash, but was lined up too far to the left. Couldn't get to the pegs in time. It's either too far left or too high. An item dash with the boom ideally would land him on the pegs, so he could take a little bit of an input break, but didn't get it, so it's just going to proceed through the auto-scroller. Kyong beating up some beetles. That's John, Paul, and George. In the next room are the drummers, Ringo and Pete Best, because nobody cares about them. Helpasaur King wasn't modded. Helpasaur King took his sword. Basically defeated another mod for it, as he is wont to do. Ivan with a pretty good beetle room there. Kyong just did a thing, used a bomb to do a jump over a hole, and Ivan did the same. So that is a bomb jump. By using the damage boost of a bomb while in close proximity to a hole, you can jump over holes of a certain width. I believe it's 2 tiles, maybe a little bit wider. But we use that to get the Moon Pearl a little bit quicker than otherwise than you could by doing the natural route of going upstairs and jumping down. Andy having some fun with a spark while Kyong and Ivan gets middle hold. Ooh, lad. Okay, so the middle hole sends you a little further down than the outside. Kyong cleans up his Moldorm fight. Andy is now ahead of Ivan because of that middle hole. Mashy is in the tile room. So Andy and Ivan both jumping back into their Moldorm fights. Slashes, dashes, pokes, and spins with the fighter sword all do the same amount of damage. The fastest is chasing the head and slashing the tail. The tail follows wherever the head goes, but the safest is pokes and dashes, as long as you know not to dash north and south. But Andy and Ivan both have their red pendants and are right behind Kyong en route to the Master's Sword. Mashy, by the way, getting through the auto-scroller in the tile room and is about to get the Hera Big Key. So now, Kyong is going to tug on a tree here and get some blue rupees. There is a kill counter and a damage indicator. If you pull a tree that can give rupees, and you have killed 4 enemies without taking damage, you get reds. If you've killed 4 enemies but you have taken damage, you get blues. And if you have not killed 4 enemies, you get greens. If you've killed no enemies since the last time you pulled a tree, you get nothing. Good day, sir. Obviously, these folks have killed far more than 4 enemies, but they have taken damage, specifically from the bomb jump, if nowhere else. So they get blues. And that is the first part of the rupee route here. They are now going to kill 4 enemies on the way to and from the Master Sword and pull... Uh-oh. Andy with the bush guard. Okay. Gonna kill 4 enemies to and from the Master Sword and pull another tree in the Lost Woods, and that will give them 4 red rupees. And between the blues and the reds and the drops they've gotten, they just need to make sure they have 110 rupees that will let them get into Palace of Darkness. There are also 6 rupees that they're going to naturally run into in Aghanim's Tower, so they just need 104 before entering the tower. Mashy, on the way up to Trolldorm, gonna get some hearts. Shoutouts to T1 with the greatest Moldorm highlight of all time. A pedestal is a stone receptacle in which you might place a sword or otherwise display something of value. That's what a pedestal is, if you were wondering. Kind of a strange question. Thought that was a pretty common word, but hey. So Kyong got the reds. Ivan's getting his reds. Andy's about to tug on a tree. Andy must have gotten hit or didn't kill 4 enemies. Because that was 4 greens, and I'm not what you call a mathematician. But 33 is not going to be enough, so he's going to try to kill 4 more enemies and pull a tree in the courtyard. I don't think he's going to go for the damageless Agha's Tower route. Meanwhile, Kyong is in Agha's Tower. Pay attention to those 2 blue guards that Kyong just killed with a dash. By causing them not to drop their prizes, good things are going to happen in Turtle Rock. We'll talk about that later. Alright, Andy's got his 4 reds, so that's 110. We're set. So all of our runners have everything they need to get into. Ivan with an interesting strat here with the Gold Knights, burning through 8 arrows, it looks like. That's not ideal, but... Ivan got that heart drop by spinning those 2 blue guards. That might come back to bite him. Basically, those guards are in a prize pack that starts off Heart and Fairy. And if you can get through the game without killing anything that drops either the Heart or the Fairy, you're setting yourself up to get a Fairy drop when you need it in Turtle Rock. Ivan, by advancing the prize pack there, has put himself into a position where he might get his Fairy when doing the hammer jump. Same thing for Andy. Andy got the heart drop as well. So pay attention when those 2 runners do the hammer jump. When they kill the Helmasaur by throwing a pot, if they get the Fairy from that Helmasaur on the bridge, they will not get it in Turtle Rock, unless they cycle through the prize pack. Kyong with a very nice circle of pots. Ivan through the Dark Maze and over the Pit of Melancholy. Or maybe that's the Pit of Despair. Kyong entering the Aghanim fight, and Mashy got a sword, got a mushroom, just needs a walk, gonna make some stir fry. Ivan in the Circle of Pots also gets good RNG, is able to clean that up. Andy, meanwhile, just getting obliterated by this arrow guard. No regard for human life. Finally, a guard that actually paid attention in training, but still, somehow, the magical green pajamas protect Link from 2 direct arrows to the chest. Mashy having some problems on the walk back here. Get your guesses in now for blue balls 0 to 15. Each blue ball costs 6 seconds of pure RNG, except for blue balls 3, 7, 11, and 15, which add an extra 6 seconds from triggering a lightning cycle. And I won't lie, I ain't counting blue balls at all, because I'm watching 4 runners. Ivan and Andy not far behind. Ivan entering the fight, starting off with a boom dash, does nothing but looks cool. I'm seeing some blue balls in the top left and bottom right. That's unfortunate. Mashy tried to serve up Din Din, but did not quite let the guards get together, so has to do another spin. So basically, the way this fight works, Aghanim has 5 attacks in his pattern. The first is a guaranteed reflectable. Second, third, and fourth are 50-50 coin flips, reflectable, or blue ball. Fifth is a lightning lather, rinse, repeat. The most you can get without missing a guaranteed shot is 15. Chances of that happening are 1 in 32,768. You would have to be awfully unlucky for that to happen to you. Kyong through the fight on the pyramid. Ivan getting a few blue balls here, it looks like. Andy is... Ivan's been in this fight a while. Anybody counting? That had to be like 4. If not more. 4 for Kyong. Andy... All right. And now Andy is through, and Ivan is through, and Mashy is making the way through Aga's Tower. I see the conversation has drifted towards Breath of the Wild, and while I could sit here and talk about that game for hours, I'm going to resist. So, Kyong got those rupees and has now attracted the attention of a monkey that won't stop talking. It just is going to chat your ear off. It's going to tell you about its vegan diet, its CrossFit routine, and eventually you get to the door of this palace and you're just like, listen, monkey, shut up. Nobody cares how many burpees you can do. Take 100 rupees and open this place up for me. Mashy got a short boom there from that blue guard. But Kyong is now into Palace Darkness. Andy and Ivan about to pick up their overly talkative monkeys as well. Oh, unfortunately, Andy gets the monkey that won't shut up about Bitcoin mining. That's unfortunate. You hate getting Bitcoin mining guy. Because that guy's just insufferable, won't stop talking about the blockchain, can't even tell you what the blockchain is. Eventually, he pays him 100, some sort of cryptocurrency to go away. Nobody knows, nobody cares, it'll all be dead in a year. And now Mashy is in the Aghanim fight. So, again, pay attention when Andy and Ivan get to the hammer jump and they throw a pot at the Helmasaur. If the Helmasaur drops the fairy, that's unfortunate. Kyong has the prize pack set up, so the worst that can happen is that Helmasaur might drop a heart for Kyong. Speaking of the hammer jump, hammer jump's a really cool trick. Basically, you have to position Link on a specific y-axis coordinate, place the bomb, move Link to another specific y-axis coordinate, and let the direct horizontal bomb blast clip you through a rail. It saves you having to go to the basement, get a key, and then navigate a dark maze. So you'll see Kyong do it right now. See, Kyong got that heart drop from the Helmasaur with the prize pack set up correctly. Throws the second bomb across and is in position. Very nice. Well-executed hammer jump for Kyong. Ivan is on the way there now, and Andy is picking up the big key. Mashy is through the Aghanim fight. The lamp won't help you? Okay, Ivan did not get the fairy from the Helmasaur. That's good. Setting up the single bomb jump variety here. Little high. Oh, no, we got it. Okay. So there's the fairy from Andy. So that means that Andy will be past the fairy. We'll first see the full magic from the prize pack in Turtle Rock, which hopefully does not come back. Meanwhile, this hammer jump has just gone sideways. See what Andy does if he resets and tries it again or just goes. Kyong, meanwhile, making his way through the back half of Pod and onto the basement. Andy going for it again, having some trouble. This is probably that whole emulator setup again. I'm pretty sure we're going to see Andy just go back and get the basement key. No, we're going for it. Using select buffers, which is pretty unorthodox. Most people use the pause menu. Unfortunately, the way the commentary restream is, I can't tell if he's got the pixel, but he's got it. Alright, so Kyong is into the turtle pen. A little bit of trouble in there, but no damage taken. Very nice. And Ivan is on the way to the basement. Mashy just got rid of his monkey. Alright, Helmasaur. 17 hammer hits to clear off the mask, and then either 4 spins, 4 hammers, or 8 slashes, or some combination thereof to kill this giant cat scorpion abomination. Andy with the interesting item dash there. Why? Just because. Ivan having a Fiesta de las Tortugas. Kyong through the Helmasaur fight, no troubles. Mashy collecting some keys, progressing through pod. Alright, so since Ivan took that heart of damage, he can only sustain 2 hits from Helmasaur. He does 2 hearts of damage with everything he does, so the 3rd hit will kill him. Okay, Ivan oh, so he despawned the fireball by doing the 17th hammer hit while the fireball was on screen. Which was good, but then he took some damage, still gets his 8 slashes and then cleans it up. Meanwhile, Andy is on his way to the turtle pen. Very nice turtle room from Andy, that's the way it's supposed to look. And Mashy is now on the way to do the hammer jump. 3653 sword up from Kyong. Andy into the Helmasaur fight. I don't know if Andy normally goes for hammers, but I'm going to guess he's going to default to spins or slashes if he's in a different input scenario. Mashy going for it. That looks like it. Yeah, nice hammer jump from Mashy. Gonna place the bomb and wait for the explosion to open the chest. The bomb will continue exploding during the text. There's Kyong with an item dash, using the hammer while dashing to just knock down all those pegs without stopping. That's another Japanese 1.0 minor glitch that you'll see in the run. Ivan is through pod and on the way, shortly behind Kyong, to pick up the shovel, quickly exchange the shovel for a flute, and go to wake up a bird. Andy has also cleared through Helmasaur and is talking to his maiden. Alright, 1 dig flute for Kyong. Very nice. So we're now on the way to Thieves' Town. Thieves' Town is an interesting dungeon as when you compare it to what it would look like if you've never seen the game before to what it looks like as a speedrunner. When you, by the way, Kyong, going for spin speed here, this one is less optional. It allows you to get right past this red guard without having to stop and fight him. That red guard is really fast and will chase you down if you don't have spin speed. So yeah, Thieves' Town is pretty different casually as it is in the speedrun. Normally you walk in, you're presented with these 4 rooms that are a mixture of overpasses and underpasses. It's pretty maze-like if you don't know where you're going and you don't know what you're supposed to do. But luckily, most of that is completely unnecessary, and we'll be seeing not very much of it. Mashy, meanwhile, in the turtle room, having a bit of a turtle party. Ivan about to play a song for a statue, and Kyong making his way to the warp to the Dark World to proceed into Thieves' Town. see how Mashy cleans up Helmasaur here. Down 2 hearts already. Again, can only take 2 hits, and the third will be fatal. .302 entrance for Kyong on the segment timer. Very nice. Ivan having a bit of a conflagration of blue guards, but gets through with only half a heart of damage. Mashy is not in a great... Ooh. That's unfortunate. Okay, so entering the warp tile thing is a thing called quick warps. Basically, if the camera is scrolled to a certain position, the warp will be 34 frames quicker. It has nothing to do with Link's position and everything to do with the position of the camera. Out of every 8 horizontal pixels, 2 of them are quick warps. So sometimes entering the warps from the side will put you on a quick warp pixel. Alright, we're here in Thieves Town. Mashy is going back through pod. Kyong with the God Pixel, but gets blocked by a Patrick Star further up the hellway. So takes a hit and progresses on through. Kyong gonna go ahead and bomb the hole. Andy is on his way to the portal, and Ivan is on his way to the hellway. Very good exit from the bombable floor room by Kyong. Got out of there just as the jingle was playing. Skullbush for Andy. This is not the best overworld segment. You gotta think that if he really is playing on a different setup than he's used to, switching from emulator to console is easy. Anybody can go in that direction. It takes you 10 minutes to get used to the missing input delay. Switching from console back to emulator is nearly impossible. I cannot play it. It's unbearable. So if that's the circumstances Andy is playing under, then a lot of admiration to him for doing as well as he has. Kyong, apparently, what we do in this game is bust women out of jail. So Kyong has gone and done that. Mashy has dispatched Helmasaur King. Very nice. See if Andy gets the clean dash through the hellway. The lesson, of course, is never stop playing on emulator. Yeah, that's we'll go with that. So Kyong is about to enter the blind fight here. The blind fight is a very the way that the AI works. If you do the same thing every time, it will do the same thing every time. So by setting up the fight in a particular way, you can get the hits of each cycle quickly, and then predict where the heads are going to be and where blind will be, and dispatch. Ooh, Kyong missing one of the slashes. It looked like swung too early and caught the iframes, but still cleaned it up with minimal time loss. Okay, Andy blows the hole open. Ivan is heading to blind's boss room. Ivan down to 4.5 hearts, but shouldn't be a problem. Two, three. Actually, that second phase may have gotten away a little bit. Let's see where blind goes. Yep, Ivan is off script, but is able to clean it up. Very nice. Meanwhile, Andy has his jail lady. Mashy on the way to Thieves Town. Kyong, meanwhile, is going to go pick up a frog. For some reason, this frog needs rescuing. Now, if you're a frog, you do one thing and you do it well, and that is jump. But for some reason, this miserable little toad can't find it in those springy legs of his to jump down off that dang ledge himself. And instead, he lazily waits there for you to pick up a rock and set him free. I don't know why. He's a frog. He can jump. Andy entering the blind fight now. Sorry, I just had to get that off my chest. Okay, good phase 1 for Andy. 1, 2. All right, good phase 2 for Andy. Nice clean blind fight for Andy. Meanwhile, Kyong has gotten 300 rupees from a chest and has rescued the lazy frog and returned him. He's a frog! You're telling me that we found the one species of frog that doesn't jump. And how self-loathing do you have to be for your Dark World form to be a frog that can't jump? Like, how bad does your inner dialogue have to be for that to be the beast in your heart that's drawn out when you enter the Dark World? I mean, if that's really the case, then he needs to find the nearest, you know, therapist to get through these issues. So, Kyong has his sword, got another 300 rupee chest, and is now on the way to Skull Woods, but takes a hit on the way. Ivan is doing his sword exchange. Andy is getting his first 300 rupee chest. Skull Woods is another one of those dungeons that has an interesting, you know, juxtaposition between the casual route and the speedrun route. There are a lot of rooms and entrances to Skull that you're just not going to see in the NMG route. But I do know that most people, when they first play this as a kid, this is probably the first, you know, real confusing dungeon of the game. So Kyong's got the big key and is now going to do our third of four bomb jumps. The Skull Woods one, exactly the same as the Hera bomb jump. 6 pixels away from the hole if you bonk, 2 pixels if you stand still. Very nicely done by Kyong. Ivan is now entering the Skull Woods overworld and is going to get the big key. Andy has a sword in hand. No, Andy has just dropped off his sword and is now going to go pick it up. Mashy is on the way to Thieves Town. One thing to note, Mashy did detour and pick up powder. So some of that deficit is the 40 seconds it takes to get powder. But that is the type of thing that could turn this race around in a hurry if Mashy gets in a situation where powder is needed and Ivan gets in a situation and doesn't have it. So Ivan is heading for the Skull Woods bomb jump. Meanwhile, Kyong is into the Mummy Hellway. Takes a slow but safe strat through the Mummy Hellway. Very nice. Nice buffer from Kong there, using the item buffer to mirror, position himself in a place where he could actually just slash the mummy twice into the... Oh, Andy visiting the downloadable content section of Skull Woods. Nothing for you here. There is just nothing of value in here except damage and... Whew. Alright. Kyong cleans up Moth nicely. Ivan entering the back half of Skull. See how Ivan does in the Mummy Hellway here. Does the same slow but safe variation, but gets out without damage. Very nice. Andy, meanwhile, making his way to the Skull Woods big key. Mashy getting his powder's worth there. Ivan falling into the Moth fight. Let's take a look at this. Sets up for the... Alright, gets one hit on the dash, using the fire rod to draw Moth down. 2, 3, and 4. Very nice. Actually, it may have been a double hit for Ivan. Andy with the Skullwoods bomb jump, well executed. Kyong now on the way to pick up the Quake Medallion and the flippers. Mashy progressing through Thieves Town. So right now it is Kyong in the lead over Andy, Ivan in the lead over Mashy, but if you are following all four, it is Kyong, then Ivan, then Andy, then Mashy. So the first shopping trip, as mentioned, we are first going to chuck a rock at a fish, because reasons, and from that we'll get the Quake Medallion. There is actually a reason why it's a catfish. There's some Japanese mythology that links catfishes and earthquakes, but I don't know the details of it. Meanwhile, Andy progressing to the moth fight. Kyong entering the worst overworld screen in the game. Very nice moth fight for Andy. Didn't get the quick kill with the double dash up the middle, but a very, very friendly pattern from Moth coming down off the spikes all 4 times. Perhaps some spoilers from Mashy? Entering the fight with full hearts. Okay, Mashy not exactly following the traditional pattern here. Okay, still has 6 hearts. This should still be okay. Still has 4 hearts. 3, 2. Okay, that's unfortunate. So the blind refight is very difficult. Oh, Mashy's got a fairy. Okay, we're good. There's that powder bottle and net paying off. Alright, Kyong's got his flippers and is now on the way to Ice Palace. Ivan just behind him getting the flippers. So Ice Palace is really the only, I don't know, sequence breaky thing that we do. Ice Palace, you're normally supposed to have to actually cycle through the dungeon a few times, setting pegs, pushing blocks, revisiting rooms, kind of going in a circle. But we're going to use our 4th and final bomb jump in Ice Palace to basically bypass the entirety of the puzzle. Normally the dungeon's about 3 minutes longer. You have to get a bunch of keys and go through some rooms. You might get a big key and some blue mail. We're not going to do any of that. Andy smartly slashing the 50-50 heart bush to recover some health lost along the way. Excuse me. And Kyong is approaching the Ice Palace bomb jump. Now this is a different bomb jump in that you have to boost yourself diagonally. So you have you have a 3-pixel wide window on which you can place the bomb, and then you have to move down exactly 8 pixels from there. Alright, Kyong's got it. Very nice. Second try is not bad. The only thing to look out for here is that you are supposed to get the blue mail, so you're supposed to have some damage mitigation by the time you approach the boss fight, because Cold Stare hits fast, hits hard. The crystals falling from the sky do 2 hearts of damage. The Cold Stare puffs do 4. Kyong is going to enter the fight with 5 hearts, which means that basically he doesn't have a whole lot of margin for error. 5 hearts seems like a lot, but when you have 4 heart puffs flying around, it is... Yo, seeing the half magic bat on Mashy's screen. Shoutouts to poorly translated text. Ivan going for the Ice Palace bomb jump. No, Ivan going for the hover. What an idiot am I? Of course Ivan's hovering the Ice Palace bomb jump. Ivan is actually one of the progenitors of hovering in Link to the Past. I think Ivan may have been the one that taught, uh-oh, Kyong lets the puffs get away, but cleans it up. Oh, no? Yeah, okay. Whew. Okay. Breathe. I think Ivan's actually the one that taught, the other Andy, the one that has pugs and whatnot, how to hover. Actually, the bat swears at you in Japanese. It's a mean bat. But I think the bat is supposed to be inept and tries to curse you, but does it backwards. The game also does have programming in it for quarter magic, but you never see it. Meanwhile, Ivan getting set to drop into the Cold Stare fight with 6 hearts, which is no better than 5. 8 fire rod shots to get rid of the shell. Miss 1 and you're done. Okay, so there's 2 hearts. There. Uh-oh, Ivan. Stay on target. We're down to 2 hearts 2 hearts left here for Ivan. A crystal or a puff will kill him. Duck, dodge, dip, dive. Oh boy. Oh, that okay. Please. The Cold Stare death is disastrous and would... Oh, come on. The jukes, and Ivan survives. Wow, okay. Yeah, if you die to Cold Stare, you don't have enough magic to re-enter the dungeon. You either have to farm magic, or you have to go and complete Swamp and then re-complete all of Ice. So it is probably... short of a late-stage Ganon's Tower death, Cold Stare is probably one of the most punishing deaths in the game. But Ivan has been around the block enough times to survive a Cold Stare fight gone awry. Meanwhile, Kyong has done his second shopping trip, picked up the Ether Medallion, and is now getting the Ice Rod, which will be used exactly 2 times on 1 boss, and then never seen again, other than passing glances in the menu. Andy, meanwhile, about to fall. Uh-oh! Ooh! Andy with the Andy block. Andy confusion here. But was able to reset it and keep the switch activated. Of course, the other Andy Lasso, is famous for having a mishap with that block in Ice Palace, and we will talk about it until we die. Okay, Andy with a nice... Uh-oh, okay. Gets the puffs. One started to get away, but he cleaned it up. Ivan on the way to his shopping trip. Gonna go ahead and skip that ferry. I probably would have turned around and gotten it to guarantee the heart refill entering Mire, but we'll see. Kyong using another Japanese 1.0 glitch, the mirror block erase. Basically, if you're in a cave or building where the mirror doesn't do anything, and you push a block and you press the mirror while the block is moving, the block will despawn. I'm not sure why, but it happens. Other fun side effect of that mirror block erase is that from then on, every bonk you do, no matter what wall you bonk off of, will go north. It will go north, and it will go half the distance until you leave the cave. Don't know why. Somebody explained it once, didn't make sense. He pushed it the right way, but passed through the block, causing the switch to reshutter the door. And instead of resetting, Andy Lasso, when he did this, instead of resetting the room mirrored out. All right, Mashy falling into Mothula now. Kyong making his way through Swamp. Swamp is canonically the second Dark World dungeon, so nothing in here hits really hard. You're overpowered, you have a ton of extra hearts, and you have a tempered sword you're not supposed to have yet, so nothing's really going to kill you. But, uh-oh, Mashy, stay on target. Please live. Okay, thank you, Mashy. Nothing's going to kill you, but you can lose a bunch of time. You know, you can lose a second here, a second there. I've even heard legends that it's possible to lose 10 seconds in one room in Swamp Palace. So 3 of our runners are in Swamp now. Really, the only big mistake you can make in Swamp is forgetting to hit the switch that Kyong is about to reslash. If you forget to hit that switch, you can progress through the dungeon long enough to dash straight into some orange pegs that are blocking you from the big key. And that's really the only thing that's gonna cost you $1 billion in this dungeon. But hopefully we don't see that from anybody. The hammer dash is faster if you do it perfect. It's just that most people don't, and in that case, walking up, dashing, and walking up, hammering, and dashing out is faster on average for most people. But if you get a first frame possible hammer dash, then the hammer dash is faster. It's just that, and you do the cancel well, and you restart your dash well. It's just very hard to do the hammer dash in such a way that it actually is worth it. Alright, Ivan, remember to hit the switch. Very good. Kyong with the big key, now backtracking. Can you give me some ice tea, please? Right. Kyong with the hook shot. Ivan on the way to the big key. And he remembers to hit the switch. 3 for 3 so far. Wow, that was an aggressive red jelly there on Kyong's stream. Ivan backtracking now, heading to the hookshot chest, and Kyong is on the way to Argus. Now, there are a variety... There's 2 main ways that you can attack the Argus fight. Let's see. I think we have a pretty good chance of seeing the optimal strat out of one of these runners. Kyong intelligently knowing where his arrow count is and stopping in the restock room to pick up a 5-pot. Into the Michael Phelps Memorial Swimming Pool. He's not actually dead, so I don't know why it's the Michael Phelps Memorial. Alright, Kyong is going for the 0 cycle, holding the sword out, hook dashing. Oh, but loses it with 3 puffs left. So ends up with the empty cycle. By dashing into that room and starting with your sword out, you can hook dash, pull the puff in, and the puffs will die off of the glitch state poke, which will count as a dash, or a slash, same damage as a slash. And by doing that, you can pull in all the puffs and kill them before Argus has a chance to go into the hurricane spin, which getting that saves 6 seconds over the traditional 1 cycle. But a good effort on Kyong's part. Let's see if we see the same from Ivan or Andy. As long as you can reliably get a 1 cycle, if the 0 cycle goes wrong, you should go for it every time. It doesn't, you don't lose time by going for it and missing. You just can stand to gain 6 seconds over the backup fight. Ivan down to half a heart. Don't go above Argus. Okay. All right. Ivan. That's why saying heart's not a safety. It's required. Andy entering the Argus fight now. Andy going for the 0 cycle. Does not get it. Did not get a hook dash. Just got the hook. So he's going to try to get to this 1 cycle. But it's probably going to end up with a 2. Yeah. Well, maybe. Nope. But does miss the fire rod quick kill. So that's going to cost him some time. Both on menuing to the fire rod and now the extra time that it's going to take to refill that magic. Meanwhile, Mashy is on the way to the Ice Palace bomb jump. And Kyong is entering Misery Mire. Alright, Mashy's on a good horizontal pixel. Gotta go down. There we go. Very nice first try bomb jump by Mashy. Ivan apparently did not get the ice rod earlier and is choosing to get it now. But Kyong already did the shopping trip, so is into Misery Mire. So that means that the gap between Kyong and Ivan, of course they're not racing, it's a little bit of cross-race action, but the gap's a little bit wider than I had anticipated. But Misery Mire is another one of those late-game dungeons that it really thinks that you have blue mail. So like those slugs right there, they do 4 hearts of damage. The Wizrobes, they do 4 hearts of damage. Vitreous's small eyes, they do 4 hearts of damage. You can get yourself into trouble really quickly here if you're not careful. Kyong with a 107.05 torches. That is setting up to be 127 pace, which would be very good for a tournament setting. Meanwhile, Ivan is entering Mire. See how Ivan does on this Mire 2. Has full hearts. There is a 1 cycle strat that you can go for here. Slash, dash, dash, slash left, fire rod right, slash right. Nope, did not get the fire. Didn't see the fire rod go off, but gets an early 2 there. Meanwhile, Mashy falling into Cold Stare. Got that half magic. This is going to pay off here. Because Mashy can just go ahead and fire rod these puffs. Judicious use of the fire rod. Very nice. If you got the half magic, use every drop. It doesn't cost any more to refill a half magic bar than a full magic bar, I don't believe. Kyong progressing on through Misery Mire, getting the spike floor key, taking the required 3 hearts of damage. For those just tuning in, we have 2 races going on right now. At top, you've got Kyong and Andy. At the bottom, you've got Mashy versus Ivan. Kyong is in the lead in his race. Ivan's in the lead in his. A low 127 from Kyong's current pace would be really good. I'm thinking based on how strong his endgame turns out, Kyong could be looking at a mid to high 127, or if nothing else goes wrong, a low 128. Andy entering Misery Mire now. Kyong taking an extra bit of damage there from the black little insect. Nice map buffer from Mashy. Very nice. Okay, there goes Andy. So Kyong is onto the Vitreous fight. Like I said, the little eyes and the big eye all do damage. Gotta spin to win, get into the goop, use the damage boost to let yourself get into the eyes as much as possible and spin as many of them as possible. So you're optimally going to take 4 hearts of damage. That you can, obviously you can take as much as you need as long as you don't die. Kyong gets through very nice. I believe that was a 1 cycle. I think I did see 1 lightning there. Yeah, Kyong had an issue with the Cane of Samaria block trying to hit the switch. Had to backtrack through one of the rooms. You see Andy pushing these blocks and firing the fire rod through them. While you're pushing the blocks, they turn into sprites with no collision, and you can just kind of fire rod right over them. So it lets you cheese this puzzle. Okay, Andy, Ivan wasting a bomb so that this bomb switches him over to the fire rod automatically, letting him quickly fire rod this crystal switch. Nice, nice use of knowing where he is in the item route there. Mashy finishing up the shopping trip and now on the way to Misery Mire. Meanwhile, Kyong on the way to Turtle Rock, Ivan on the way into Vitreous, Andy midway through Misery Mire. Let's take a look at this Vitreous fight from Andy. So the ideal thing is to enter the fight, slash left, get up in, try to spin at least 4 eyes, slash again, get back into the goo. Ivan drops his spin by having a poke, and now he is down to 2 hearts of damage. Gotta watch out for the lightning, gotta watch out. Any eye will kill him. Gonna try to spin. Oh, down goes Ivan! That is unfortunate because that means that effectively now Ivan obviously already has the big key, already has the Cane of Samaria, but you see that that has very quickly closed whatever gap there may have been between Ivan and Mashy. There's still probably about a 55-second gap in between these two, figuring how long it takes to get to the basement, do the torch puzzle, get the big key, and get the cane. Maybe a minute and a half. I'm not sure exactly of the delta on that part of the split, but yeah, this race just tightened up in a hurry. If you're following all 4 as a cross race, that means that Andy is now in 2nd place. Meanwhile, Kyong has entered Turtle Rock. And Turtle Rock, again, is a dungeon where things start hitting you fast. And this is where that prize pack manipulation we talked about earlier is going to come into play. In just a few rooms for Kyong, he's going to hope to get a fairy drop from a Pokey. He's already taken 2 hearts of damage on the overworld. He's going to take a 3-heart damage boost through some spikes coming up. And also intentionally fall off the platform. So he's going to go down 6 hearts in a hurry and hope to get a fairy from the Pokey to get back up to full hearts. Meanwhile, Andy is also on a low heart situation, lower than you would like. You only need 4, but in a tournament setting, you don't really want to play around, as Ivan discovered. Okay, so Andy's got his... Andy is through the Vitreous fight. Ivan is re-entering. Ivan is at 7.5 hearts, so should be fine. Look for Kyong now, down to 4.5 hearts. Should be getting a fairy off of this Pokey if all goes right. So there's the key, there's the fairy. Back up to a much more comfortable heart value. But gets blocked by the Chomps. Those Chomps will do 4 hearts of damage too. Ivan, again, down to half a heart, but gets through the Vitreous fight. Whew. Meanwhile, Mashy progressing through, got the big key on the way to get the Cane of Samaria on to Vitreous. Andy in the Mire cutscene. Kyong in the lead in Turtle Rock. Oh, Mashy didn't do Swamp yet. Mashy's doing Gold Sword. That's right. I'm a goof. I goofed. I done goofed. Mashy's doing the gold sword route, so he's gonna do Mire first, then Swamp to put in a better position to get the big bomb to go get gold sword and silver arrows. That's my bad. I should have caught that. Kyong gets through Pokey 2, gets the big key. Ivan, meanwhile, fluting over to Turtle Rock. Andy climbing Light World Death Mountain. Kyong getting the bad pattern for... Uh-oh. Okay. So, cleans up the first Pokey. Cleans up the second. Gets out with only taking the 1 heart of damage. Again, those Pokeys will do 4 hearts of damage. And if one of them gets away and they start spreading body parts all over the place, bad things happen pretty quick. Andy solving the best peg puzzle since Cracker Barrel. And entering Turtle Rock. Kyong into the Crystal Roller Room. Bonks over the roller and gets through without taking damage. Mashy blowing the hole open. I do not know Mashy's fairy and bottle situation. Probably will powder the anti-fairy before Vitreous, though. Ivan dashing into a Dead Rock. Squirrels are cool. And also solving the best peg puzzle since Cracker Barrel. Kyong riding the platform maze. Life is a platform maze, and I want to ride it all dungeon long. Mashy powdering the anti-fairy, going into Vitreous with full hearts, can't lose. Top race is about 2 minutes apart. Mashy getting an early spin on the big eye. You can spin the big eye while, uh-oh. I think Mashy was prepared for a lightning and was dodging, so did not go centered, but still was able to handle it. Had gotten the spin in on the big eye during one of the lightning phases, so didn't have to do all 8 arrows. Meanwhile, Kyong through the cane block puzzle, entering Trinex. Now, again, Andy and Ivan do not have their fairy prize pack manipulation, so they've got to watch their health. Kyong entering Trinex, going back door, equips the fire rod, equips the ice rod 4 slashes, another ice, menus to fire, gets over, kills the ice head before NHL 94 can break out. Alright, Ivan smartly opts out of the damage boost in the roller room because he knows that he doesn't have that prize pack lined up. Kyong finishes up Trinex with skill. LMAO from Ivan. What sort of spoilers are this? Pay attention to the Chomps Rooms, kids, because I think it's about to get hilarious, depending on your perspective. Oh no, Ivan did get the fairy. I could have sworn I saw Ivan get the fairy on the bridge. Ivan? Ivan? Sir? Okay. That was a Chomps Room. That was a Chomps Room. Andy, I think, just took a laser to the face because his health situation is now in less than optimal condition here. So, one thing to look out for is, based off of how far Andy progressed the prize pack in Poke Zero, here in and what happened in Poke 1, here in Poke 2, he may be able to get back around to the fairy. We'll see. Go into the fire rod. A very smart strat, knowing that he is low on health. Gonna skip the heart pot and the heart drop. 5 hearts is apparently comfortable enough for him. Ivan, meanwhile, backtracking after getting the big key and onto the rest of Turtle Rock. Kyong entering Ganon's Tower. So Ganon's Tower is a really fun dungeon, and anybody that says otherwise just needs to learn to enjoy the video game. It's got a lot of really well-designed rooms that make use of pretty much everything that you've put in your inventory, except the ice rod, because nobody likes the ice rod. But you've got hookshot rooms, you've got some Cane of Samaria rooms, you've got to make good use of the bow, good use of the fire rod, good use of the boomerang. It really is going to test everything that you've learned throughout, and it's really fun to execute well. So keep an eye on Ganon's Tower. Mashy back in Swamp, as we mentioned, going to do this dungeon last to get the gold sword. Ivan on the way to the platform maze, Andy through the platform maze, and Kyong is on the way through the last parts of the Ganon's Tower basement. Ganon's Tower's gimmick is that you're going to refight everybody that you fought, going to refight all the bosses. Ivan, that is not the path through the platform maze. You're going to refight Armos, Moldorm, Landmolas, and Aghanim. Start off here on Kyong's stream with the Armos refight, but the gimmick this time is it's on ice, because all things are better with ice physics. Andy's still with 5 hearts, going to be able to get to 6 if he picks up this heart pot here. So can sustain 1 hit from Trinex, but 2 will do him in. So good luck to Andy on this Trinex fight. Should be able to get through damageless. Kyong, meanwhile, into the Ice Armos fight. Very nice Ice Armos from Kyong, and 1 for the wall. Andy, meanwhile, still able to kill Trinex's Ice Head before an Ice Rink breaks out. Ivan, also down to 5 hearts, going to be up to 6. No! Gonna bypass that heart pot, knowing that that heart doesn't do him any good, doesn't waste any time picking it up. Kyong now into the Mimic's room, some of the best rooms to watch done optimally. Gonna use the Joe D'Amelio strat here to lead the well, tried it, but still able to clean up the Mimics. Okay, we've got NHL 94 over on Ivan's stream, and Ivan is out of magic and has to mirror out. Oh no. That is unfortunate. So he's going to have to go and do pretty much all the dungeon again, except this little platform maze off to the right and the big key collection. That is unfortunate. That is a Vitreous Death and a Trinex magic exhaustion. Unfortunately, since Mashy had the Helmasaur death and a few other mishaps, isn't able to capitalize as much as would like. Kyong making his way through the gauntlet right now. 5 rooms where you have to kill every enemy in order to proceed. And then we'll be refighting Landmolas. Here in Gauntlet 4, gets a very nice pattern, is able to get through. Gauntlet 5, gonna throw a Fire Rod with its big old area of effect, take out the Stelphos, and get on with his life onto the Landmo 2 fight, which is much easier with a Fire Rod. Andy entering Ganon's Tower, Mashy making the way through Swamp, Ivan going back through Turtle Rock, gets the Fairy and the full magic, so at least well-equipped here. Now, keep an eye out on Kyong's stream if you've never seen Ganon's Tower done NMG style before. This Cane of Samaria is going to be used to quickly kill the Wiz Robes here in 1 shot, and then we're going to move on to this next room with 4 Wiz Robes. A quick cane block and a slash is going to take all 4 before they even have a chance to fully spawn in, and there they go. 2 of my favorite rooms when I was learning this game. You know, the first time I saw those rooms, I was mighty surprised at how well they could be executed. Another good room that you're going to see over on the top right, Andy's stream. He's going to throw the boomerang down, quickly menu over to the hookshot, get over the pegs, and while the boomerang hits the switch on the return. Much better than the intended way of using the Cane of Samaria or a bomb to get you through that. Meanwhile, Kyong is progressing quickly through Ganon's Tower, going to light these 4 torches and move on to the 3rd Light World boss refight. Mashy is cleaning up Argus. Ivan is going to get his revenge on Trinex, and here comes Moldorm on the top left. Andy going through the platform maze on the way to Ice Armos. I don't know if Kyong hovers, but we're going to find out. Nope, gonna clean up Moldorm 2 in the traditional way, a slash and a spin. Ivan uses the appropriate amount of magic this time on Trinex. Mashy has the crystal from Swamp, and will be heading over to the Dark World version of Link's house to get... Yo, Kyong with the Dom Turchi strat in Ganon's Tower in the Helm of Hellway. Very nice. That's the optimal way to do that room. Literally impossible. And yet he did it. Shoutouts to my boy Dom Turchi for coming up with that. And on to Agate 2. Andy having a little bit of trouble with Ice Armos. We've got a red one, but he gets through. Almost the triple on the second cycle for Kyong, but a nice 3-cycle Agate 2. Ivan in the T-Rock Crystal cutscene, Mashy in the Swamp Crystal cutscene, and Kyong is heading to Ganon. Still got green numbers there, so keep an eye out on Kyong. We got green numbers going into Ganon. That means that good things could happen. Do they stay green? Yes, they do. Okay, keep an eye out on Kyong's stream. Andy having a little bit of trouble in Mimics 2, taking a lot of damage there. All right, so Ganon fight, good RNG on the warp from Kyong. Is going to get in that ring, do some dashes, do some double spins here. Very nice 1-and-1 on Ganon for Kyong. So we're going to get through phase 3 here with no problems. Andy dashing through Ganon Ball Z. Ivan on the way into Ivan on the way into Ganon's Tower. Andy is going to detour and pick up the Josh Fairies. So keep an eye out here on the 4th spin of phase 3. Kyong is going to go for an early spin out of the text box to get the first of the 12 phase 4 spins. But Ganon, stop warping, please. Here's the early spin out of this text box. Oh, but Ganon decides to stay still when he warps, so he gets a blue ham 83 instead. So now it's spin to win from Kyong. 12 spins, that's 2. Gonna switch to the Fire Rod. Got his torch glitch. Trying to set up some triples here. 3 and 4 and 5. That's a tough triple to get. Yeah, it doesn't get that first spin, but we're gonna get 6 and 7. Meanwhile, no, he takes a hit. 6 for Kyong. Meanwhile, Ivan is progressing through GT. Andy on land mode 2. Mashy getting the gold sword, silver arrows. I believe that's 9 for Kyong. This should be 10. Not going to get that spin off. This should be 11. And this should be 12. No, that's 11. There's the 12th spin for Kyong. That is going to be approximately a 128.02. Very nice race performance from Kyong. And with that, Kyong has advanced to the single elimination brackets, a 127.59, I'm sorry, 127.59, a sub 128 from Kyong. Very nice race. Meanwhile, Andy making his way through the rest of the Ganon's Tower basement, Ivan making his way through the rest of the Ganon's Tower basement on the way to Ice Armos. Andy is through the torch puzzle here and on the way to Moldorm 2. Mashy with gold sword, silver arrows in hand on the way to Turtle Rock. And we're gonna see if we can get anybody in here for post-race interview. Give me one moment. All right, Andy has got Moldorm 2 cleaned up. Ivan on his way through the into the Mimics rooms. We'll see if Kyong wants to pop in and talk. Andy into the Helm of Hellway. Gets through Mimics, no problem for Ivan. And Andy is on to the Aghanim 2 fight. Mashy into Turtle Rock. Ivan through the spike trap. That's a good pattern for Andy there. That may have been a triple, but he may have gotten robbed by two of those being in close proximity. A blue ball there is unfortunate. Ivan having a little bit of trouble in Gauntlet 1 with that top right Stelphos. Andy cleans up Aghanim 2 and on the way to the Ganon fight. Mashy into Turtle Rock, into the roller room. Uh-oh, takes a heart. Takes 3 hearts of damage from the roller. Ivan having a little bit of issues here in Gauntlet, but this is a pretty comfortable lead on Ivan's part. Using the old school arrow strat on the Stelphos and G5. Shoutouts to any % no EG. Andy dropping into the Ganon fight. So let's keep an eye on Andy here. I think we're going to be joined by Kyong here shortly. Ooh, Andy does not get the Trident spin. Accidentally pokes Ganon, so he is going to have at least a 2-1, maybe a 2-2. And this is not a good phase 2. This is not a good position here for Ganon to be in. But Andy's handling it well, getting in there, doing the ring dashes. Very nicely played. That is... But he's taking some hearts there. He's got to get out of here. One more bat hit kills him. Okay. All right. Usually, if you get to phase 3 with at least 2.5 hearts, you're home free. So we'll see. I see Kyong in the green room. See if he joins us here shortly. Mashy progressing through Turtle Rock. Ivan lighting the GT torches. Kyong must have been comparing to something other than PB splits, because as you can see, his timer has changed to red. Mashy having a little bit of trouble here. I don't know where Pokey went with the key. There it is. And we have now been joined by the winner of the top race and the next addition to the single elimination brackets, Kyong. Kyong, congratulations on a very nice tournament race performance here tonight. How do you feel about your run?
Thank you. My main objective here was to try to get a better seeding time, which my previous was 129, very low 129, so I'm very happy for getting a much better time.
Yeah, actually, that is correct that we did announce the current bracket seeds today. Let me see if I can pull those up and see where that puts you. Oh, that went all the way over to my other monitor. So with a 127.59, that currently has you seated. Now, I'm not sure the results of the Kaznode versus Lost Llama match earlier, but that would currently have you seated 13th, which is very good. So yeah, that should position you well for at least the first 2 rounds of the brackets, if you can keep going like this. By the way, congrats to Andy, finishing up with a 132.56. Gonna see if we can get Andy in here as well. And Ivan dropping into Ganon right now. Mashy progressing through the Turtle Rock platform maze. I wanted Andy, not Ivan. But I guess Ivan will be done here shortly as well. So yeah, you were a randomizer transplant, is that correct, Kyong?
Yep, definitely.
So you've been playing this for less than, at least NMG for less than a year. When did you do your first NMG run?
Oh, I don't remember exactly, but would be, I don't know, around September, October, probably somewhere around there. But so, by that point, I already had done like 200 randomizer runs.
But still, even with that amount of randomizer run belt, you know, getting the repeatable movement needed to get a 127 down in about 6 months is pretty impressive. A lot of people have tried to make that randomizer to NMG transition, and it hasn't clicked for them the way it has for you. So it's really nice to see, people just coming in and shooting up the leaderboards out of the randomizer community.
Yeah, I definitely pushed myself a lot when the NMG tournament was kind of announced. That's when I really decided to sit down and watch the better runners and study room by room and stuff like that. And definitely helped a lot.
Yeah, and that's obviously one of the best things you can do. We've got a lot of resources and tutorials. There's a lot of really good runners active right now that you can watch. So clearly that has helped you. What your PB is a 127.0 something? Is that correct?
127.40.
127.40. Yeah, so that's gonna put you. I think that puts you in the top 50 on the leaderboards, if I'm not correct, or pretty close to it. So that's Ivan finishing up, by the way, with it looks to be a 136.08 or 7, somewhere around there. See if we can get Ivan in here as well. I see both Andy and Ivan in the green room. See if it'll let me bring them in. It will not. I don't have that level of power and authority in the Speed Gaming Discord. So 136.06 for Ivan. GG to him. With that win, Ivan has advanced to the brackets as well. And we are joined now by both Andy and Ivan.
Hello.
Ivan, congrats on your win, and Andy, GG on a race well played. Just to keep track, Mashy has just finished up Turtle Rock. So Ivan, I'll start with you as the victor on the bottom race. What are your thoughts on what just took place? And if you would oblige me, could you start by giving your thoughts on the chomps?
I got put in jail. Yeah, that was hot garbage. That was absolutely terrible, and that's what I get for not playing for the last week. So
I saw the LMAO drop in chat, and I immediately knew that we were in for a treat. So I'm glad that you at least got through that without dying. Unfortunately, Trinex would not let you live it down, but still came out on top, and that is what matters. You are now in the brackets, so you thought that you were done. You're not done. You got at least one more, man.
I don't think I was done. I was hoping that I could get a better seed with this, but that didn't happen, so whatever.
Well, let's see. What is does this improve?
Oh god, I had a 130 at some point.
You hadn't advanced for sure yet. So
No.
if you had a 130 something, that's gonna put you somewhere between the 25th and the 30th seed as it is right now. All right, so Andy, your bracket is not yet settled. With the
My mystery opponent.
your mystery opponent who has who did one race and then has yet to be heard from again. That's probably gonna cause a bit of a tie between you and Kyong is gonna be ducking out. Again, Kyong, congrats. Good job on the win and good luck in the brackets. Yeah, so I believe you're gonna have a tie, and we'll have to do some math. Because you haven't raced Shay yet, have you?
Nope.
All right, so you're gonna probably end up doing a fill-in race with the other person in your group that hasn't gotten a chance to race them, and that will be used to fill in your missing time for your averages to see who advances.
My good friend Elmagus, the rematch of the century.
Oh, Andy and Elmagus we're gonna see that. Elm is 0-2 right now in groups, and I think that will mean you and Elm are going to be tied for 1 and 2 records.
Well, wouldn't it technically make me 2 and 1 if
Are you
Shay never shows up?
Uh,
I beat Elmagus.
oh, you beat. Okay, so you beat Elmagus already. So yes, you would be 2 and 1. Okay, so if you beat Elmagus already, then yes, you would be 2 and 1. So that means that if we don't hear from Shay in the next couple of days, then you advance.
Hooray!
So, yeah, unfortunately, we had a few people that signed up and underestimated the time involvement here. So it looks like Kyong is in, looks like Andy's in, looks like Ivan's in. Runner Watcher is the other person that made it in out of your group, Ivan. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and report that score right now and make it official.
Ooh.
Woo!
Look at you.
I gotta say, hook dashing on emulator is impossible.
Yeah. So tell me about that.
My capture card wasn't working. I don't know why. I just don't know why. So I was like, all right, I guess I'll boot up the emulator. the old emulator.
When's the last time you played on emulator?
Link to the Past. Probably over a year.
Yeah. As soon as somebody in chat mentioned that you were having issues with your capture, switching from emulator to console is easy. It takes 10 minutes. You will immediately figure it out.
Yeah.
Console back to emulator is hot garbage.
Oh yeah. I will say it's a good thing I play a lot of mystery tournaments, so I'm kind of accustomed to emulators and input lag. But not on Link to the Past in a while. It's been a while since I've done that, but it's not as big of an adjustment as it could be. It's just, like I said, it's really hard to hook dash on a PS3 controller.
Oh, okay. That was my next question, is what you were using. And so you went to a PS3 controller.
I almost PB'd by 5 seconds. Like, I was within 5 seconds of my PB some way, despite that. But I'll take what I can get there. I mean, it wasn't bad considering.
No, it's there were a few things where you could tell you were having trouble stopping your dashes on the right, where you wanted them or something like that. But no, if nobody had told me, I probably wouldn't have noticed a whole lot of a difference in your play. Mashy, by the way, is finishing up Gauntlet 5 now. So we have approximately 13 days until the brackets start.
Hey.
What are the things that you guys are going to head back to the lab and work on to improve your chances in the brackets? What do you think are the things that you have the most opportunity to improve upon?
The whole game.
Whatever Josh tells me to do.
You're going to listen to Josh?
Absolutely.
He's been going through my PB room by room and like sending me videos on how to improve stuff.
The super secret coaching. Wow.
That is not secret at all.
Ivan, what you gotta do is make sure that you practice the late game. Your Josh is much better than mine. Mashy cleaning up Wiz 2 on the way to the GT Torches and then Moldorm. Alright, well, let's see. Just seeing let me pull up the schedule here and see what else we have coming up. I think you guys were the last race of the night, but I've been wrong before multiple times during this commentary, as a matter of fact. So I totally forgot that Mashy hadn't done Swamp yet, and when you died to Vitreous, I was like, this race just got really close. And Mashy was like, no, it didn't.
You touched an eyeball. I'm sorry to hear that.
I got middle hold by Moldorm. I almost died to Cold Stare. I died to Vidi.
Oh, the Cold Stare fight! How did I
died to Mirror out of Trinex. It was real bad.
The Cold Stare fight was actually really impressive that you managed to not die.
Thanks. I was terrified.
So was I. That was by proxy. So coming up on the schedule, this was the last race of the evening, but tomorrow at 8 o'clock, also on Speed Gaming, we have Thunder Mustache versus Mutsky, which I believe both of them have... Yeah, both TM and Mutsky have already advanced, so this will be chances for them to improve their seeding. Following up after that, it's going to be Walrus Prime and Tina Hacks. If Walrus wins, he advances. If Tina Hacks wins, then we have a few more matches to go to fully determine that. Mashy entering the Aghanim 2 fight right now. On the 21st, we have a full day. At 10 a.m., we have Shady Force versus Magius. At 12 noon, we have Negazeus versus Cruscader. At 1 o'clock, Korek versus Mr. Wonder. At 3 o'clock, Zatox versus Simple. 6 o'clock, Skarsnik versus Kid Buu. And then another full day on Sunday, 1 o'clock, Mr. Wonder versus Sarah Leppy. 4 o'clock, Feral Pigman versus Tear. 5 o'clock, EOD Tex versus Takaz. 9 o'clock, Felix versus Colthor. 9 o'clock, Wolfie versus Giselle. And 10:30 p.m., Lyra versus Ness Chalmers. So we have like 13 some odd races coming up in the next 48 hours. So the speed gaming networks are where you want to be if you are a fan of Link to the Past played the way that God intended. Mashy dropping into the Ganon fight now. So as I guess as Mashy is finishing things up with the gold sword and silver arrows, it's pretty academic from here. I guess I'll take this opportunity to again say congrats to Ivan on advancing, and apparently also congrats to you, Andy, on advancing as well.
Hooray, I lost. I'm still advancing.
I'll look forward to that reschedule between you and Elmagus to make up the time. I'll give you two the details on that in Discord later this evening. But yeah, congrats to both of you guys, and I will look forward to catching y'all in the brackets.
Cool.
Mashy on phase 3 now. Of course, with gold sword and silver arrows, we don't even need to worry about any sort of silly torch glitch, but Mashy goes for it anyway, and now it's just 4 silver arrows. Well,
speaking of Ganon, I had to do some really weird dashes over there. Yeah.
Oh, the
topside dashes.
The topside dashes. Yeah, I was actually pretty impressed by that. I probably would have bailed out and died had I gotten that pattern.
I mean, I just wanted to wing it. I mean, like at that point, I already lost anyway. Might as well just try, right? I was lucky I didn't touch Ganon because he would have killed me.
It was the right call. It was definitely the right strat to go for. But let me see if I can get Mashy in here real quick. If he wants to say anything, I'm very bad at Discord and multiple servers. And that is a 147.57 for Mashy, which is going to be Mashy's final race here in the tournament. So GG to Mashy. See if we'll be joined. I just managed to pause the restream, but I guess that doesn't matter. If Mashy stops in, we'll talk for a bit, and if not, that will wrap it up for the evening. And then let's take a look at the speed gaming schedule in general to let you know what else you will be seeing. I already know what I'm going to find when I click on this link. I'm going to see a whole bunch of Spring Randomizer Tournament. Yep, there's a whole bunch of Spring Randomizer Tournament. What's today? Today is Thursday. So coming up later this evening, coming up next on Speed Gaming is actually the Zelda 1 any% no up in A. I believe that is a best of 3 match that's going to determine who faces Lack Attack in the finals, if I've got that correct. Over on Speed Gaming 4 right now, we've got Randomizer. Over on Speed Gaming 3 right now, we've got Randomizer. Over on Speed Gaming 2 right now, we've got Randomizer. Later on Speed Gaming 2, we've got Randomizer of a different sort. It's the Zelda 2 Randomizer race. And coming up on Speed Gaming 5 shortly, it is more Link to the Past randomizer. If there's one thing that this schedule is not randomized. I think we've just been joined by Mashy. Is that correct?
Yes. Hey.
Well, that probably didn't go the way you hoped, but
oh no.
but in the end, you killed a pig, and really, that's all we can hope for. 3
Save the girl.
Match that's going to determine who faces Lack Attack
Oh,
in the finals, if I've got that
Mashy,
correct.
mute Discord,
Over on
please.
Speed Gaming 4 right now, we've got Randomizer. Over on Speed Gaming 3 right now, we've got Randomizer. Over on
Echo
Speed
on
Gaming
your
2 right
side.
now, we've got Randomizer. Later on Speed Gaming 2, we've got Randomizer of a different
I think
sort.
you've got
It's the Zelda
Discord
2
coming through
Randomizer
your,
race.
audio.
And coming
What the
up
hell will he hear?
on
Yeah,
Speed Gaming
yeah, I won't
5
be able to
shortly,
on your
it
OBS,
is
muted in
more
your OBS.
Link to the Past randomizer.
I think you've got
if there's one
Discord
thing
playing
that
through
this
your OBS
schedule
on
is
your
not,
stream.
This schedule is not
Okay.
random.
I'll just mute my entire stream then.
That will work. There we go.
Yeah, that was
Okay.
certainly a run.
It was a very video game. The
GG, Ivan.
Yeah.
so my understanding is that you had played you've obviously played Link to the Past before this tournament. But prior to you signing up for this tournament, when was the last time you put any serious effort into ALTTP as a speed game?
In NMG, never.
Never. Okay.
I
Never's
did
good.
two races back like 2 years ago, and that was my entire NMG speedrunning up until practicing for this tournament.
Well, I am glad that that you decided to enter. It has been very exciting to see people coming out of the woodwork that hadn't run NMG in forever, or that had only dabbled in it long ago. A lot of randomizer people came in. A lot of the people that are blazing up the leaderboards right now managed to drag a few people out of retirement that I thought would never see again. But it's been very good to watch thus far, especially including the 4 of you guys. Now that the tournament is over, what is next for you, Mashy? What do you have other tournament coming up, or just going back to your normal speed games?
Well, I definitely feel like I can still improve on NMG. I can definitely get sub 145 pretty quickly.
I would say so.
I'll probably work on that. I'm waiting for a new controller to come in because my D-pad is really messing me up a lot. Like, I don't know if you noticed, like, some of the movement things that were going on, but my D-pad's kind of a mess.
Gotcha. Well, I think that if that is your goal, you will reach it very quickly. So.
And I also want to get back to Zelda 1. I was working on sub 35 on that right before this tournament started, and I didn't actually reach that, so I need to get back to that.
Literally an impossible game, so.
But speaking of Zelda 1,
Speaking of, yeah. I was actually just trying to figure out who the okay, it looks like it is, if these details are correct, it's going to be Cananophone versus Breasticle.
Yes.
And that's going to be, is that the best of 3 to see who plays Lack?
Yes, it's the best of 3 losers bracket finals. So winner of that goes into the grand finals to face Lack Attack.
All right. Of course, everybody that has seen a Zelda 1 speedrun knows that Lack Attack is impossibly good at this game. So there will be a challenge waiting, but that is a game where anything can happen in a race. So I would advise anybody that was thinking about walking away from Twitch for the evening, change your plans, call your dates and cancel, and stick around. Check out this hot Zelda 1 no up and A tournament action that's coming up next. With that, I want to say again, thank you to Mashy for participating in the tournament. Congrats to Andy and Ivan for advancing. And again, thank you to Feasel and his entire team at Speed Gaming for hosting us thus far and for the rest of this tournament here on Speed Gaming. With that, I have been and will continue to be Scrivo. good night.
Yahoo!
Good night, guys.
Good night.